Things just seem like they're going from bad to worse, and the markets are scaring the living crap out of not just the retail market, who isn't really here, let's be honest, but out of the OGs. Most of the people I know that have a lot of liquidity are all humming and hawing. And I feel it too, because we have not seen an alt season. We have not really seen a bull market that we know. And there's many reasons I've said on previous videos about that. Now, what today I want to go to is what happens next. Where are we going? What are the alts going to do or not do? And what should you be focusing on right now? Because if you don't do it now and you save it for later, you're going to continue creating a large gap inside of your portfolio. And that gap will continue to grow unless you have a plan. What is your plan? If you have a plan right now, comment below. Tell me what you think it is. Subscribe and like while you're doing that. Let's jump into where we're going next, because this is what you're all thinking. This is what I'm thinking. This is what the OGs are all thinking. Even the VCs, 70, 80, 90% of them are scared out of their mind. And how is that going to affect the market when it actually does start to pick back up? So before we jump into the charts, I just want to go over what's been happening with Bybit. You all know already. I'm just going to give you what happened after the fact and what I thought would happen with ETH, and it did, and now we're seeing it retrace. So number one, Lazarus Group hacked Bybit. And they didn't really hack Bybit, but they spoofed Bybits into believing there was a normal transaction for like a marketing budget, and they just clicked send, and somehow, I don't know why there was not some rails in place or how they got through those rails, but basically got Ben to sign the final transaction for $1.5 billion. This is the problem when you look in your Trezor or your Ledger. It just shows bunches of lines of code. It's very easy for you to just click yes, because you think it looks normal like everything else. And then once you've done that, unfortunately, you can't go back on that with blockchain tech. So there are limitations if you don't have rails in place. And even if you do have rails in place, there are still limitations. But what has Bybit done? Well, it's very simple. Ben and Bybit had to buy back Ethereum or get loans for Ethereum or get the Ethereum back into Bybit. So if anyone wants to withdraw Ethereum, they could do that. And so they actually have done that. I talked about this online that ETH would likely pump because of this, and it did. It went to $2,800. And that was basically all we could get. Now, these guys from Lazarus Group are already seen to be laundering money through Pump Fund. We'll talk about that in a little bit, and also other avenues. And there's even an exchange that's mad at Bybit for not being friendly to them. And they're like, why should we help you? Not thinking that, they might go to end up in jail cells beside SBF and having Diddy diddling them. Anyways, it is what it is. Moving on, they got loans from pretty much big people. So they think Fenbushi Capital, MEXC, BitGet. So other exchanges have money that they're friendly with. That's great. OTC buying. I did talk about this, that a lot of this stuff would likely be from OTCs, loans, and other whales. And they've basically got $1.3 billion back into their order, into the books. So they can actually run the exchange as normal right now. That's pretty freaking impressive, to be honest. The way they dealt with this should be a standard for how anyone deals with any type of crisis in crypto. But because of it, most people were not that scared. Even though they did a bank run of $4 billion, they still could handle that, and they're 1-to-1. So Bybit, very good job, Ben, team. You guys crushed it. I hope that we can somehow, if not recover the funds, make sure that these guys don't dump on everyone else in the industry, because 0.3% or almost 0.4% of the entire Ethereum allocation is a lot of money and could actually severely impact ETH price in the long term. So this is negative. Good positive thing about that is you can't really offload $1 billion very easily without being blocked everywhere. So that's the positive side of it. Now, going into news, this is very big news, that the SEC approved the first interest-bearing stablecoin. And why is it important? Well, it's maybe negative to the USDC and USDT because it'll be their own US-bearing stablecoin. But what it is positive for is it will be able to track and stop scammers. It will be able to do things that will stop a lot of nefarious activities in the market. And we're also seeing things like this, which I talked about, where Pump Fund is now doing an in-house market maker. They have had funds from Bybit going through one of the Pump Fund projects and kind of laundered out 500K of that. Like I said, it's gonna take a long time for $1 billion, but there's a lot of news happening right now, and it feels like there's an attack on stablecoins, which honestly, I'm all for that. I'm not saying memes are all bad. I'm saying we have way too much, and there's way too much nefarious scamming going on, and no one's really doing anything about it. US taking the lead on this will likely create some standard in the industry, and if you're going to scam and it does get caught, you will end up in jail, and you will face the maximum fines because they have to set examples of everybody that does this from now on. And I'm sick and tired of losing 1 ETH to a scammer, or a half a Solana, or a full Solana, or a 10 Solana, or 15 Solana to scammers. And it's happened to me too. So don't think that you're the only ones who have this happen to. Like, there's insider cabals. KOLs are part of the people that get wrecked the most, and they lose their reputation by doing it too, by thinking the people who are behind these projects are actually legit and doing good. Friends of friends are screwing each other over and stealing from each other. That's how much the PvP has caused this market to basically deteriorate. And that's not all bad. I think it's good because you see who your friends are and you see who the real people are in this space. And the ones who don't screw each other over are likely going to be the ones who make it. And the ones who screw each other over are likely going to be the ones who might make money this cycle, but end up not being around for the future. And hopefully they don't have enough money to actually make it through the future. Now, looking at Coin Bureau, this is going into everything I just said, that the SEC established a cybercrime unit. So if you're creating a cybercrime unit to stop fraud, you're likely going to try to shut down Pump Fund, I would assume. You're likely trying to get rid of the scammers, follow the addresses that scammed, and basically target the individuals who are really wrong for it. Now, thank God, I have been a massive victim of fraud, and everyone knows about it. I don't want to talk about the team. I don't want to talk about anything. I have been screwed before, majorly, more than most people have ever understood. And I know what it feels like to go down $10 million and not realize it. So what happened with Ben at Bybit, I actually understand how that feels. It was a different way. I got scammed by CFI, but it doesn't make a difference. All of these platforms have risks. The only way we don't have risk is by not your keys, not your crypto. But then if you do that and you don't have something like Devio Exchange, which is coming out, which Dev Exchange will let you have a custody and be able to API in and use bots and all that stuff. Until we have that sorted out, there always will be that counterparty risk. And hopefully there'll always be a one-to-one treasury that can cover risks like what happened with Bybit. Now, moving forward, where are we going next? Because a lot of you are asking me, Coach, I need some guidance. I don't understand what's happening in the market. Look, I don't think anyone understands what's happening in the market anymore. Everyone who knew what they were talking about, a ton of sentiment being super negative. VCs are so underwater that when they get vestings, they're dumping the shit out of them. It's a bleak world right now. And there's a lot of people just banking on 1 or 2 projects to hopefully cover them so they make it. And this mentality is what retail generally was like in previous cycles, trying to extract as much value as they could because they didn't know if they would make money. I think that most the money that I've invested is almost gone. I might make 20% of that back. And that's the reality I'm keeping myself sane with, is at least I'll make 20% back. Maybe I'll make 5% back. I don't know. But the reality is for all of us right now that this is something we have to prepare for because the fragmentation of liquidity in the market is brutal. Let's look at the charts though and tell us, what are they telling me, right? Because I know it sounds negative and I'm sorry for that, but sometimes being real is more important than bullshitting you like all the other influencers telling you everything will be bright and shiny. Does that mean we're gonna go down? Does that mean the bull market's over? Have we even had a bull market is a better question. But where are we going next? I know all of you are wanting to know that. And sometimes even myself, I feel like, where are we going next? Because the charts aren't even really following that cleanly. And the news is positive consistently. And the market goes down consistently. Does that mean we're in a bear market and we never really got out of the last bull market? We were in the bear market, we kind of had a crazy relief rally, set a new all-time high, and then now we're in a bear market again? Was the left-sided market true? So far, that actually is playing out. One thing I will give you, and I'll tell you all my thought process on this, is why is Bitcoin in a range? How does that potentially impact price? How does that potentially impact what's coming next? And how much shorts are being opened? Because there's a lot. There's a lot of Bitcoin shorts that are opening up. I can show you that right here. Bitcoin shorts. They've been steadily growing since November. So people are shorting Bitcoin. They're scared, right? The shorts were huge, right? If you really look at this from the top, right? From even last cycle, shorts are more in control than longs. And we did have this pump in October of 2022. But literally everyone's mainly shorting. And the longs for Bitcoin, they lasted for a while and then they stagnated and they dropped off. And they dropped off because they got hunted heavily, or Ethereum and Bitcoin. If you really, really understand when you look at data, you don't take emotion and what you think should happen and you apply it. We look at total 3, it looks fine. We look at total 2, it looks fine. In terms of is it a bear market yet? No, it's not. Not yet. But that doesn't mean we're not going to go towards that. That doesn't mean that this wasn't potentially a double top, right? And we ended the market earlier than we thought. So I just want you guys to be prepared because liquidity is king. And I said, we have a few more weeks. We have a few more weeks. And you guys know I don't make calls that are big. I don't make big bustling calls. We're going to go up. We're going to go up. And an 800th time that I say it, it's actually right. No, I say things when they're actually going to happen. And I've been consistent about this. So don't think I'm saying this out of anger, emotion, or anything else. This is really just looking at the market and being realistic. I did think we would have that dip and then pump. We did dip to that level. We did. We came back. We retested. 91, 92. Now we're in this tight range. We've been in this tight range since pretty much November, and we've gone between 108 and 92 consistently for months. Usually when you're in a tight range, especially the last couple of weeks where you see the Bitcoin price has barely moved at all, usually we have either one move or the other. And here's why we could go to the upside and here's why we go to the downside. And I'll tell you which I think is going to happen and what I want to happen, okay? Two different things. What I think should happen right now, if we're looking at TA, we had a bearish TK cross, one bearish signal. We have a Chiku span, which is bearish, two bearish signals. We broke into the cloud, three bearish signals. We tapped the Kijin, four bearish signals. Now we're inside the cloud, and the trade you should be taking here normally would be this trade. And so you can say whatever you want about anybody. So this is the trade you should be taking. A little bit above the last high and edge to edge. Maybe you'd close it around the 200 EMA. That would be the trade I would be taking right now if I saw and thought the bear market was in play. Now, generally, I'm someone who waits a little longer to see that we're actually going to go below the cloud, and then I get into the bear market mentality. But in reality, I should be short right now. I'm going to be honest with you. And the only reason I'm not is because the 3 days still looks okay. Even though the Chiku span's running into the candles, we have this nice big gap before we run into the cloud. And on the weekly, we still look okay. But that doesn't mean shit. I'm being honest with you. It doesn't mean a thing. So if we do not see some type of movement out of this range and we keep testing the lows will not hold. That liquidity will get grabbed, and then we will see a dump and likely fill this CME gap at 79,000. Arthur Hayes talks about it. I'm talking about it. And the weekly looks like it could tap the Kijin as well, which is setting up nicely to be around 79 in the next 5, 6, 7 weeks. So this week and next week, by mid-March, the next 3 weeks are extremely, extremely important for this market. If we are patient to that point and all we see is more blood, be prepared to make decisions that secure whatever liquidity you have so that you can earn something on something. Me, I'm using trading bots that are accumulating Bitcoin that have track records, that are accumulating USDT that have track records. And that's it. Just simple facts of the matter is following simple strategies that make us gains, not crazy gains. Something that I can put it in where I know my liquidity actually will increase, my Bitcoin will increase, and that I can sit and watch from the sidelines where I think the market goes next. Because right now is a pivotal time for our industry. There's all this positive things happening. There's stablecoins, there's really good things happening. But when we look at charts, and let me be specific to charts, because the US economy also had a huge dip last week, and this could also be a factor in where we're going next. We had a big red day. Doesn't mean anything on the short term. The DXY is starting to drop. Bitcoin needs to go up if that happens. Otherwise, we're even more trouble. So here's what we need to look at. Let me go to all the blockchains. ADA on the weekly still looks okay, but it's pretty bearish. We're underneath the cloud on ADA. This is a bearish signal. We should have shorted the Kijin right here. That's number one. Number two, Algorand, still doing okay. Underneath the cloud, all bearish signs. Aptos, all bearish signs. Atom, all bearish signs. You see that the pattern of all the charts look exactly the same. They're all underneath the cloud. They're all bearish. Now, BNB is one of the outliers because it had a pump recently, but other than that, like every single chart you pull up is in under the cloud. Their bearish TK cross happened. Their Chiku spans are bearish. All of the daily macro has changed to bearish. And if you want to be someone who says that I'm an asshole for being truthful, then I'm going to be an asshole for being truthful. Because everyone else will give you guys these heartstrings of, oh, we'll go up higher. In my opinion, it's a very slim chance every single day that goes by that we do not go higher, that we're going to have this massive bull run that everyone expects. I do expect 25 or 30 projects to suck in so much liquidity, similar to how Facebook and Google and Apple did after the dot-com bubble. We are in a dot-com bubble for crypto. We have way too much crap that has no use, no point of even existing, and community or no community, at this point, because no one's making money, it's PvP. It's me versus you. I'm gonna start a project and I'm dump on you. I'm gonna sell first. That's where we're at. And until we see something change, that's what we're gonna be at. And you can take this for what it is, but every single chart that I upload here, you all see are underneath the cloud. You all see the Chiku spans are bearish. You see that TK cross that happened, and all of this points to negative movement in price action, other than Litecoin, because it had a pump recently. But really, cycle through your coins. Tell me what's doing well, right? I'm looking through every single coin on this list. What do you guys all see? The same exact chart. And Solana just broke below a key level, and it's looking like it might go back to 140. So be prepared. Be really, really prepared for what's to come. If you're someone who has no liquidity in US dollars and you need to live, it might be a smart move to try to secure some of that capital and make a plan for it. Because like I said, if we're in mid-March and we don't have movement, I would be really sounding the alarms for all you guys that we're in a bear market and you guys didn't know it yet. Now, Sonic's an outlier because it's got a lot of farming going on the platform, but if you look at Phantom and the way that ended up, it probably will end up similar. And I hold Sonic, so I'm not trying to hate on the chain, but the way they did it last time sucked and extracted all liquidity out. This could be similar, but there's opportunities in Sonic right now to make money. Don't take that as a guarantee you're gonna make money though. Right? There's DeFi games that are happening that most players that are playing them know better than you. And if you try to join in on them, they may hurt you. So be someone who is very cautiously optimistic like I am. Because I do want the market to go up. I do believe in it long term. I've been here since 2013. But I will tell you that if I would be lying to all of you if I told you the market looks okay. Because from a chart perspective on a daily, it doesn't really look like we're going back higher. From a realistic position of not being emotional about it, it doesn't look like we're going higher. So I would need to see some factor, and unless you guys can comment what you think is going to create a massive bull run right now, I would love to hear it. I don't see any catalyst right now. And so am I holding lots of projects that I'm going to be slowly deviating out of? Projects that I'm gonna look at and evaluate. So here's what I'm gonna use as an evaluation tool. Number one, active community. Community and socials, if they're not active, I'm gonna sell those tokens. Because if they don't have that going on, there's probably not much going on. I'm gonna call teams and ask them, what is your marketing budget looking like? How much capital do you have in reserves? Do you have enough money to even launch your token? When do you plan to launch your token? How much money is left in your actual budget? Are you working for salaries or are you working for free? There's a lot of projects that haven't even launched that are in that negative side where I know I'm not gonna make money back. And I might not ever make money, period, from these projects. So it's a rough time in our space, but I think it's good long term for our space to reduce the amount of crap and focus on value and utility again. And until we do that, we won't really get a fucking crazy bull market again, like what happened with Amazon and Google and Facebook after the dot-com bubble. So lock in and be prepared. Make sure you have enough to live. That's the reality. I know it fucking sucks to say it, but I'm gonna say it because someone has to. Yeah, I could show you any chart in general, but we're pretty much in the same spot right now across the board. You know, I don't like to be the bearer of bad news, but I have been many times in the past, and I have sounded alarms in the past, and people have made fun of me and talked crap about me. But I think many of us, if we're not emotional looking at charts, we are going to be very realistic here that we got to be honest with each other. We got to have influencers that actually call it as it is, that actually know what they're talking about. And I would say that, yes, there's cautious optimism for sure, because all the positive news. But I've been here since 2000, in the early 2010s, right? 2013. And I can tell you, I've seen this before. And positive news happened every bear market there was, and it did not move the price up at all. Retail are not involved. Only big wallets are buying. It's a game of control. And the control is get everyone that are scared to sell out their bags. Buy the ones that actually are valuable when they're much cheaper, same as a meme coin would operate. And then control supply. So decentralization is important, but where we're at right now, we need to be honest with ourselves. Am I scared? A little bit, I would say. You know, I would be scared for the fact that we wouldn't have a bull market. I'm cautiously optimistic. Don't get me wrong. You can call me any name in the book saying I'm a pussy for that. But the reality is I'm just looking at things from a very, very clear lens. And I don't want to feed anyone any BS. We're in a time right now where we need to be on top of our game and on top of everything that we invested into and picking which teams have money, which teams are doing something real, which meme coins are you holding and should you be holding them, and starting to focus a lot more on less is more approach. Find the value projects that have real contracts, that have real revenue, that have real users and real TVL, or you may be very unhappy in the future. All right, so now what, right? A great question. Now is the time for personal development, self-improvement, learning new skills. So I'm not saying the market's going anywhere. I'm not trying to be bearish on the long term, but in the short term, what can you do when the market's kind of sideways, boring, you're not making money, you're like, what am I supposed to do? Learn new skills. I've made a trading course absolutely for free. If you join our community, click the link below. You can get new skills this way. You can learn about how do we trade? What type of opportunities do I offer these people, right? Like it's a lot. We have trading bots that have track records that have been making people money consistently through bull and bear. They're institutional level that we have maybe an ability to offer you through this company. You know, if you're someone who has like 10 grand and you just don't want to really do anything, you want to make small amounts every month. So there's opportunities like that everywhere. It's just, and there's money everywhere too that's waiting to come into this market. But everyone's kind of learning and educating themselves. So be an educator. Learn how to educate others. Add value to yourself. Add value to others. Take care of your health. Go to the gym. Go get a massage. Do things that let you keep your mind fresh and unemotional. Because if your money is all in this crypto market and you have nothing else that's going for you, it is going to become a high stress environment. And if they do want to whip you out of your positions, it's a great time for them to do it. It's also a great time for them to swap around and liquidate shorts. So go learn something new. Go spend time to do that. Get in groups, learn, educate yourself about new things and skills that you can do. And even outside of crypto, go learn about AI. You know that's the future. So that's what I would suggest as, you know, a self-help life coach for other people is go learn something new. Go improve your skills. Add new tools to your toolbox. And whether it be in crypto or outside of crypto, make yourself more valuable to the world. Because then you can command more salary, you can command more value from other people when you want to get paid. Here's the reasons why. All right, guys, I'll leave you with that. Much love, everyone. I know it's not the best time in the markets. Stay up, keep your chin up. Things will be okay. Whatever goes down comes back up, but make sure whatever's going down, if you're holding it, is something you want to be holding and not something that you will regret in 6 months from now. All right, guys, peace.